The massive view screen aboard the Zorn Collective's flagship crackled with static as their most advanced communication arrays struggled to penetrate Earth's increasingly chaotic electromagnetic sphere. Commander Krulax's tentacle-like appendages twitched with frustration. What should have been a simple reconnaissance mission was turning into an unprecedented puzzle. Unbeknownst to the aliens, a small team in a converted warehouse outside Phoenix was already playing a high-stakes game of technological cat and mouse. Jack Thompson, a former NSA cryptanalyst with a mohawk and more piercings than regulation would normally allow, grinned as another alien probe was subtly redirected. "Not today," he muttered, his fingers dancing across a custom-built quantum interference device that was definitely not in any government handbook. The first real hint of humanity's potential came not from a military response, but from an unexpected source. Internet memes, conspiracy theory forums, and a global population that found the alien intrusion more fascinating than terrifying. Inside the converted warehouse, the tension was palpable. Monitors flickered with streams of incomprehensible data, a visual symphony of intercepted alien communications and Earth's defensive responses. Jack was part of a classified group that the U.S. government didn't officially acknowledge. Project Chimera, a rapid response team cobbled together from the most brilliant minds across multiple disciplines. Area Chen, a quantum physicist with hair dyed electric blue and a programming skill set that made most AI researchers look like amateurs, sat beside Jack. Her fingers moved across multiple holographic interfaces, each one representing a different layer of their defensive strategy. "They're persistent," she muttered, tracing the path of an alien data probe that had just been redirected into a complex digital labyrinth. "Persistent is an understatement," Jack replied, pulling up a real-time map that showed the increasing density of alien scanning attempts. "They'd been probing our systems for weeks, and they still have no idea what they're dealing with." Across the room, Marcus Rodriguez, a former Special Forces operative turned cybersecurity expert, monitored global communication networks. His background was a study in adaptability, military training, followed by a complete career pivot into the world of digital defense. The alien incursion was unlike anything he'd prepared for, but that only made the challenge more exciting. "Look at this," Marcus called out, pulling up a world map. Dots of various colors represented different global responses to the alien presence. What was remarkable wasn't the government reactions. Those were predictably cautious, but the grassroots response. Social media was ablaze with everything from serious analysis to wild conspiracy theories, each interaction creating a noise that made traditional intelligence gathering nearly impossible. On the massive central screen, a live feed from various satellites and ground-based observatories showed the alien vessel. It was nothing like the sleek, menacing ships of science fiction. Instead, it looked almost awkward, a testament to the fact that advanced technology doesn't always translate to aesthetic beauty. Aria's quantum interference algorithms were working overtime. Each time the alien vessel attempted to scan Earth's surface, they were met with a kaleidoscope of redirected signals, false data, and technological mirages. It was like watching a digital shell game where the aliens could never find the actual P. "They're going to get frustrated soon," Jack predicted, a mischievous glint in his eye. "And frustrated aliens are going to make mistakes." Marcus chuckled, a sound that was equal parts professional assessment and pure excitement. "Mistakes we can exploit." What the Zorn Collective didn't understand, what they couldn't possibly comprehend, was that humanity's greatest strength had never been its military might or technological sophistication. It was adaptability, the ability to turn limitation into opportunity, to transform a potential threat into a chance for innovation. The warehouse hummed with potential energy. Servers processed impossible amounts of data. Algorithms danced across quantum networks, and somewhere in low Earth orbit, an alien reconnaissance vessel was about to learn a very important lesson about the planet it had so casually chosen to investigate. The Zorn's diplomatic vessel approached with the confidence of a species that had subjugated hundreds of civilizations. Their initial scan classified humans as pre-spaceflight, technologically limited low-threat potential. Their first critical mistake was assuming potential could be measured by conventional metrics. Deep within the gleaming command center of the Zorn Collective's flagship, senior analyst Voxnar reviewed the preliminary data with growing confusion. Holographic displays flickered with intercepted human communications, a cacophony of signals that defied every standard of interstellar communication protocols they had ever encountered. "This is impossible," Voxnar muttered to their second-in-command, Krulith. The holographic displays showed what appeared to be simultaneous, contradictory communications. One moment, a serious diplomatic discussion about potential first contact. The next, an explosion of what seemed to be deliberately nonsensical image-based communications, rapid-fire text exchanges, and what their translation matrix could only describe as jokes. Lisa Rodriguez, a brilliant robotics engineer working for a small startup in Silicon Valley, was live streaming her latest experimental drone when the alien transmission first appeared. Her audience of tech enthusiasts, fellow engineers, and random internet viewers numbered in the hundreds of thousands within minutes. "Okay, folks," Lisa's voice crackled through the stream, her excitement palpable. "Looks like we got some unexpected visitors." What happened next would become a legendary moment in human-alien first contact. Instead of panic or military mobilization, Lisa did something entirely unexpected. She began systematically analyzing the alien transmission, her commentary a blend of scientific precision and infectious enthusiasm. "See this frequency modulation," she explained, zooming in on a complex wave pattern. "Totally not standard Earth tech. But check out how the signal intersects here." Her fingers moved rapidly across multiple holographic interfaces. "We've got some seriously interesting quantum entanglement going on." Her audience wasn't just watching. They were participating. Comments flew faster than the Zorn could process. "Enhance the third quadrant. Look at the harmonic resonance. Is that a quantum encryption signature? Dude, that looks like something out of my quantum mechanics textbook." Within hours, a global collaborative effort had begun. Universities, research labs, tech companies, and individual enthusiasts from around the world were sharing analysis, creating distributed computing networks, and turning first contact into a massive, real-time, crowdsourced investigation. Aboard the Zorn vessel, Voxnar's confusion turned to genuine alarm. Their linguists had spent months trying to decrypt human communication, utterly baffled by internet slang, memes, and a communication style that changed faster than their most advanced translation algorithms could process. The Zorn had a sophisticated understanding of communication. They had successfully translated and understood hundreds of civilizations. But humans were different. A single meme could contain layers of cultural context that would take traditional linguistic analysis months to unpack. A 2-second video clip could communicate more emotional and contextual information than a 1,000-page diplomatic document. Their communication wasn't just a language. It was a living, breathing, constantly evolving organism. "Look at this," Krelith said, pulling up another set of intercepted communications. A video of a cat wearing sunglasses was somehow being used to discuss complex geopolitical strategies. Another stream showed what appeared to be a heated debate about alien technology, conducted entirely through animated reaction GIFs. What the Zorn saw as chaos was humanity's greatest strength: rapid, unpredictable adaptation. Their diplomatic protocols, refined over millennia of galactic interactions, began to break down. How do you communicate with a species that could simultaneously be serious and absurd, precise and completely random, collaborative and competitive? Lisa Rodriguez continued her live stream, unaware that she was fundamentally challenging everything the Zorn thought they knew about technological and communicative potential. "Guys," she said with a grin, "I think we just got the most interesting homework assignment in human history." The Zorn's invasion plan was a masterpiece of galactic military strategy. Antimatter-powered warships, quantum shield technologies, genetically enhanced warrior breeds that had crushed civilizations across multiple star systems. Their confidence was absolute. Their first ground assault became a nightmare of unexpected resistance. Colonel Michael Williams watched the initial invasion unfold from a command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. A former video game designer turned military strategist, he represented a new breed of warfare expert, one who understood that modern conflict was as much about information and creativity as it was about traditional military might. The first Zorn landing craft descended through Earth's atmosphere with calculated precision. Massive biomechanical war machines, each standing nearly 20 meters tall, projected an aura of invincibility. Their whole composition could deflect most known weapon systems. Their targeting systems could track multiple threats simultaneously. They were the pinnacle of galactic military technology. They never stood a chance. "Activate Project Swarm," Michael whispered into his communication link. What happened next would be studied by military strategists for generations. Thousands of drones, previously used for agricultural monitoring, package delivery, and infrastructure maintenance, suddenly found new purpose. They weren't military-grade weapons. They were everyday technology, repurposed with breathtaking speed and creativity. Agricultural drones equipped with chemical sprayers became airborne delivery systems for sophisticated electronic warfare packages. Delivery drone networks transformed into coordinated attack formations that the Zorn's targeting systems couldn't comprehend. Each drone was a node in a living, breathing network that adapted in real time. Sarah Nakamura, a brilliant programmer working from a converted garage in Seattle, had spent the last 6 months developing an adaptive AI system that could coordinate massive drone networks. Her original goal had been improving urban logistics. Now, her creation was rewriting the rules of warfare. The Zorn war machines found themselves surrounded by a cloud of small, seemingly insignificant devices. Individually, each drone was harmless. Together, they were a nightmare of technological disruption. Some drones carried sophisticated jamming equipment that turned the aliens' advanced sensor arrays into useless hunks of metal. Others deployed microscopic electronic warfare packages that wormed their way into the biomechanical systems of the Zorn war machines, causing cascading system failures. "They're using consumer technology," one Zorn commander reported in disbelief, "as a weapon system." But it wasn't just drones. Every piece of human technology became a potential weapon. In Detroit, a group of automotive engineers quickly retrofitted self-driving car networks into autonomous ground support units. Industrial 3D printers in manufacturing centers across the globe began producing custom electronic warfare equipment faster than the Zorn could adapt. A teenager in Brazil discovered a way to hack the Zorn communication frequencies using a modified gaming console. A collective of online gamers developed real-time tactical coordination algorithms that outmaneuvered the aliens' most sophisticated battle networks. The Zorn had fought hundreds of civilizations. They understood military doctrine. They knew how to crush resistance through overwhelming technological superiority. They had never encountered a species that could turn its entire technological ecosystem into a weapon. "It's like they're fighting a war and designing the weapons simultaneously," a frustrated Zorn tactical analyst reported. "Their entire civilization is becoming a combat system." Michael Williams allowed himself a slight smile. The true strength of human warfare wasn't in advanced weapons. It was in the ability to see potential where others saw limitation. To transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. The first Zorn landing zone, meant to be a beachhead for planetary conquest, became a graveyard of advanced technology, defeated not by superior firepower, but by human creativity. As another Zorn war machine collapsed, its systems corrupted by a swarm of repurposed delivery drones, Michael keyed his communication link. "Stage 1 complete," he said simply. "Let them know we're just getting started." Dr. Emily Nakamura's laboratory looked nothing like a traditional research facility. Vintage movie posters hung alongside complex quantum mechanics diagrams. A well-worn leather jacket was draped over her chair, competing for space with cutting-edge holographic interfaces and prototype quantum communication devices. When the first intact piece of Zorn technology was recovered, most research teams would have approached it with caution, meticulously documenting every microscopic detail before even considering interaction. Emily Nakamura was not most researchers. "We're not just going to study this," she announced to her team. "We're going to understand it, deconstruct it, and then make it better." The recovered Zorn communication module was a marvel of alien engineering. Compact, with a crystalline structure that seemed to defy traditional material science, it represented centuries of advanced technological development. Most human research teams would have spent years just trying to comprehend its basic functioning. Emily's team approached it differently. Dr. James Rodriguez, a material scientist with a background in nanoengineering, was the first to make a breakthrough. Using a custom-built quantum scanning array, he discovered that the alien communication module wasn't just a device. It was almost a living system, with information pathways that function more like biological neural networks than traditional electronic circuits. "It's not technology," he explained during a live-streamed research update that attracted millions of viewers. "It's more like a technological organism." Within 72 hours of initial analysis, Emily's team had not just decoded the basic functioning of the Zorn communication module, they had begun to reimagine its entire purpose. What the Zorn had designed as a closed proprietary communication system became, in human hands, something entirely different. A prototype network communication device emerged that could potentially revolutionize global, and eventually interstellar, communication. The global scientific community watched in a mixture of awe and excitement. Universities, research centers, and independent labs began collaborating at an unprecedented scale. Open-source research platforms lit up with analysis, suggestions, and collaborative improvements. General Robert Garcia, overseeing the military's technological adaptation efforts, recognized the profound implications. This wasn't just about understanding alien technology. This was about fundamentally transforming humanity's technological trajectory. "They gave us a roadmap," he told the classified briefing, "and we're about to write an entirely new chapter." The Zorn had accumulated technological knowledge over millennia. Humanity was demonstrating something far more dangerous: the ability to learn, adapt, and reimagine technology at an exponential rate. A captured alien energy generation module that was meant to power massive warships was quickly adapted by a team of engineers into a potentially revolutionary sustainable energy solution. A quantum encryption device became the foundation for a new generation of cybersecurity technologies. What made human adaptation truly terrifying to the Zorn was the speed and breadth of innovation. Where alien research was methodical and incremental, human technological development was explosive and transformative. In Silicon Valley, startup incubators began dedicating entire floors to alien technology research. Venture capitalists fought to fund teams working on alien tech adaptation. What had started as a potential invasion was becoming the greatest technological opportunity in human history. Emily Nakamura understood the deeper implication. This wasn't just about reverse engineering alien technology. It was about proving that technological potential wasn't about accumulated knowledge, but about the capacity to imagine, to question, to transform. Her latest prototype sat on the laboratory bench, a communication device that merged principles from the alien module with human quantum computing concepts. It was smaller than a smartphone, but its potential was galactic in scale. "We're not just catching up," she told her team, a rare smile crossing her face. "We're rewriting the entire rulebook." Across the world, in research labs, universities, garages, and makeshift workshops, thousands of similar breakthroughs were happening. Each piece of alien technology that fell into human hands was not just studied. It was reimagined, transformed, improved. The Zorn had come to conquer. Instead, they had inadvertently provided humanity with the greatest technological catalyst in its history. and they were just getting started. The Zorn Collective had perfected psychological warfare over millennia. Their approach was surgical, scientific, and devastatingly effective. They understood the psychological breaking points of hundreds of civilizations, the precise pressure points that would cause a society to collapse from within. Their standard protocol was simple: identify cultural vulnerabilities, exploit internal divisions, systematically erode hope, and then watch as a civilization tore itself apart. But humanity was anything but standard. Their first psychological attack came through global communication networks. Targeted disinformation campaigns designed to create panic, fabricated messages that appeared to come from world governments, holographic projections that showed seemingly insurmountable alien technological superiority. In most civilizations, this would have worked perfectly. Sarah Chen sat in a small podcast studio in downtown Chicago, her microphone live, her audience numbering in the millions. She was a comedian by trade, but now she had become something more: a psychological firewall for humanity. So, she began, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Apparently, we're supposed to be scared. The big bad aliens think they can break us with some fancy light shows and scary messages. Her audience, a global, interconnected network of listeners, waited. Well, she continued, let me tell you something about humans. We're the species that invented dad jokes. We're the civilization that looks at a perfectly good instruction manual and says, nah, I'll figure it out myself. We turn internet memes into global communication systems. The Zorn monitoring team watched in absolute confusion. This wasn't a traditional response. This was mockery, defiance, humor in the face of what should have been terrifying circumstances. Across the world, similar responses erupted. Where the Zorn expected fear, they found creativity. Where they anticipated panic, they discovered resilience. In Mumbai, a group of software engineers turned the alien disinformation campaigns into an elaborate online game. Players would compete to spot and debunk alien propaganda, turning psychological warfare into a global collaborative effort. In Rio de Janeiro, street artists began creating massive murals that transformed alien threat projections into satirical artwork. Each holographic invasion scene was reimagined, turned into something absurd, something human. The Zorn had specific psychological profiles for how civilizations would respond to existential threats. Humans were writing an entirely new playbook. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, a computational psychologist working with military intelligence, was fascinated. They're approaching this like a complex adaptive system. He explained during a classified briefing. Every attempt to break us becomes a new opportunity for unity, for creativity. The alien psychological warfare algorithms began to fail. Each targeted message was immediately dissected, mimed, transformed. Social media platforms became a real-time defense mechanism, with millions of users collaboratively analyzing and neutralizing alien communication attempts. A teenage hacker in Seoul would discover a flaw in an alien communication protocol. Within hours, that information would be shared, analyzed, and turned into a global defensive strategy. A stand-up comedian in Chicago would turn an alien propaganda message into a viral comedy routine that would be watched by millions. The Zorn began to understand a fundamental truth about humanity. They didn't just resist. They transformed resistance into an art form. Their most advanced psychological warfare techniques, methods that had crushed hundreds of civilizations, were being turned into global inside jokes. Threat projections became meme templates. Intimidation tactics became comedy sketches. They're not just surviving, one frustrated Zorn analyst reported. They're enjoying this. Sarah Chen's podcast continued. Here's the thing about humans, she said, her voice a perfect blend of humor and defiance. We don't just survive. We turn survival into performance art. The global human response wasn't just a defense. It was a statement. We are not just another civilization to be conquered. We are something entirely different. With each failed psychological attack, the Zorn's confidence eroded. They were fighting an enemy that didn't follow any known rules of engagement, an enemy that could turn fear into laughter, threat into opportunity, an enemy that, impossibly, seemed to be having fun while facing potential extinction. As another alien psychological warfare attempt disintegrated into global comedy, Sarah Chen raised a toast to her listeners, to humanity. "Bring it on," she said simply. "We're just getting started." Whispers spread across the galaxy. A new power was emerging, unpredictable, uncontrollable, fundamentally different from anything the galactic community had seen before. Other subjugated species began to watch, to hope, to learn. The Zorn Collective's reputation of invincibility began to crumble. Diplomatic channels buzzed with speculation. Who were these humans? How could a species so seemingly primitive become such a significant threat? David Alvarez, a diplomat with a background in anthropology, began documenting humanity's rise. His reports became required reading across multiple alien civilizations, a case study in unexpected potential. The final confrontation wasn't a traditional battle. It was a systematic deconstruction of the Zorn Collective's entire infrastructure, a campaign of such profound creativity that it would be studied by military strategists for generations to come. Colonel Michael Williams stood in the underground command center, surrounded by a team that looked more like a tech startup than a military operation. Screens filled with complex data streams, holographic projections, and real-time global coordination networks. This wasn't just a military response. It was a species-wide collaborative effort. Their strategy was deceptively simple. Don't fight the Zorn. Dismantle them. The first phase began with global communication networks. What appeared to be random internet traffic was actually a sophisticated distributed attack system. Every meme, every seemingly nonsensical social media post, every crowdsourced analysis was a node in a massive adaptive intelligence network. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a quantum computing expert, had developed an AI system that could predict and adapt to alien communication and technological patterns faster than the Zorn could respond. "We're not trying to beat their technology," she explained during a classified briefing. "We're trying to make their entire technological ecosystem obsolete." The attack was multi-layered and brilliant. Captured alien communication modules were systematically reverse-engineered and turned into adaptive communication disruptors. Each module became a node in a global network that could predict and neutralize Zorn communication attempts before they could even be initiated. In the financial markets of New York, a team of algorithmic traders, working in conjunction with military intelligence, began a systematic economic warfare campaign. Zorn supply lines, which depended on complex interstellar economic networks, were subtly destabilized, not destroyed, transformed. A trading algorithm developed by a 22-year-old programmer in Mumbai could predict and neutralize Zorn economic transactions faster than their most advanced financial protection systems could respond. What looked like random market fluctuations was actually a precisely calculated dismantling of alien economic infrastructure. Cybersecurity teams, led by a global network of hackers, researchers, and military experts, turned the Zorn's technological superiority against them. Each attempted invasion was met not with direct resistance, but with a complete reimagining of technological interaction. A captured alien weapon system in a research facility in Tokyo was quickly adapted into a breakthrough medical diagnostic tool. An invasion drone was transformed into a revolutionary transportation prototype. The Zorn weren't just being resisted, they were being fundamentally misunderstood. "They think in straight lines," Michael Williams observed. "We think in spirals." The global response was unprecedented. Universities, tech companies, military research facilities, and independent researchers worked in a level of coordination that defied traditional organizational structures. National boundaries became meaningless. This was a species-wide effort. On the Zorn flagship, Admiral Krellex watched in growing horror as their invasion infrastructure systematically fell apart. It wasn't being destroyed. It was being reimagined. Communication networks went dark, not through direct attack, but through a complex web of adaptive interference. Supply lines became impossibly complex, with human economic algorithms creating logistical nightmares that the Zorn's linear thinking couldn't comprehend. Every Zorn technological system was met not with resistance, but with a level of adaptive creativity that made traditional warfare concepts obsolete. A group of game designers developed combat simulation algorithms that could predict and neutralize alien tactical approaches before they could be implemented. A network of stand-up comedians turned psychological warfare attempts into global collaborative performance art. The final blow wasn't a weapon, it was understanding. By the time the Zorn realized what was happening, their entire invasion infrastructure had been systematically transformed. Not destroyed, reimagined. Colonel Williams watched the final stages of the operation with a mixture of professional calm and profound amazement. This wasn't just a defense. This was a fundamental redefinition of conflict itself. "Status?" he asked quietly. Dr. Rodriguez's voice came back, calm and matter-of-fact. "They're not defeated," she said. "They're obsolete." The Zorn Collective had come to conquer a planet. Instead, they had triggered a fundamental transformation of galactic understanding. Humanity wasn't just defending itself, it was rewriting the rules of existence. And they were just getting started. The aftermath of the Zorn invasion was unlike anything the galactic community had ever witnessed. It wasn't a victory in the traditional sense. It was a fundamental reimagining of what a spacefaring civilization could be. The Nexus Diplomatic Conference, held on the neutral trading station that served as the galaxy's primary diplomatic hub, was supposed to be a standard post-conflict assessment. It became something entirely different. Ambassador David Alvarez stood before representatives from over 217 different galactic civilizations. His presentation wasn't a military report. It was an invitation, a glimpse into a different way of existing. "We're not here to conquer," he began, his holographic presentation shifting through images of human innovation. A captured alien communication module transformed into a medical diagnostic tool. A weapon system repurposed as a sustainable energy solution. Psychological warfare attempts turned into global collaborative learning experiences. The assembled diplomats represented civilizations that had existed for millennia. Some had technological capabilities that dwarfed human understanding, yet they listened with an intensity that bordered on desperation. On the methane seas of Vornax Prime, resistance movements that had suffered under the Zorn Collective's expansion began to study human strategies, not as a potential military doctrine, but as a philosophy of existence. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, now leading humanity's first interstellar research initiative, explained the core of human potential during a subsequent scientific symposium. "We don't see limitations," she said. "We see opportunities for reimagination." The human approach was fundamentally different from any known galactic civilization. Where others saw boundaries, humans saw challenges to be overcome. Where traditional species accumulated knowledge, humans transformed it. Where other civilizations protected their technological advances, humans open-sourced their most critical innovations. A captured Zorn quantum communication module became the foundation of a galaxy-wide communication network that prioritized collaborative research. Alien invasion technologies were systematically broken down, understood, and then redesigned to solve fundamental challenges facing multiple civilizations. The Tralaxian Diplomatic Corps, known for their ultra-conservative approach to interstellar relations, found themselves completely recalibrating their understanding of first contact protocols. Humanity hadn't just defended itself, it had created an entirely new model of civilizational interaction. Colonel Michael Williams, now heading the Earth's first interstellar collaborative defense initiative, understood the deeper implications. "We're not building a military," he explained in a classified briefing. "We're building a platform for collective problem-solving." The economic impact was equally profound. The human approach to technological adaptation created entirely new markets. Species that had been economically stagnant for centuries suddenly found themselves part of a collaborative innovation ecosystem. A research facility in Mumbai, developed a communication algorithm based on human internet meme distribution that could transmit complex scientific concepts faster and more effectively than any previous galactic communication method. A group of game designers in Seoul created conflict resolution simulations that were being adopted by diplomatic training centers across multiple star systems. The Zorn Collective, once the most feared expansionist force in the galaxy, found themselves transformed. Not destroyed, but fundamentally reimagined. Their technological infrastructure became the foundation for collaborative research networks that spanned multiple civilizations. Ambassador Alvarez's final presentation at the Nexus Diplomatic Conference became a turning point. It wasn't a showcase of human superiority. It was an invitation. "We're not special," he told the assembled representatives. "We're just willing to see potential where others see limitation." The human approach defied every established galactic paradigm. They didn't seek to dominate. They sought to understand. They didn't protect knowledge. They proliferated it. They didn't view differences as threats. They saw them as opportunities for collaborative growth. Dr. Elena Rodriguez summarized it best in her groundbreaking paper, The Human Equation. Our greatest strength is not our technology. It's our ability to continuously reimagine what's possible. As humanity took its first steps into the broader galactic community, it became clear that this was more than a first contact scenario. This was the beginning of a new chapter of galactic evolution. The universe had encountered something entirely new, and they were just getting started.